All right, we are live. Hey guys, it's Austin from Real Broker here in Bonney Lake. I live in the Tehaleh master plan community. If you're checking this out, you're looking to move across the country, whether it's here or somewhere else, please like and subscribe to my channel. I'll be happy to keep pushing out great content to help you along the process since I've done it myself. If you do need a real estate agent anywhere else in the country, please let me know. I can connect you with brokers all over the place. My information's right there below. It's scrolling across the screen. Let's jump right into it. So first of all, why in the hell did we pack up all of our stuff in our family and move all the way across the country? I think a lot of people right now are really scared to do anything. And we made a huge move right in the middle of COVID. And of all places, we picked the Pacific Northwest. So we had been building out a really pretty great real estate business in the Midwest. It went from, doing a few deals a year to becoming a full-on team in the Midwest. Let me show you guys a little picture here where we were at. So the way we started, let's see, there we go. So we ended up growing up a pretty big team in the Midwest, and it was awesome. But as it started to grow, we really found ourselves in this kind of uncomfortable position. And that uncomfortable position was essentially, if we don't make a change, then we are going to be stuck here in the Midwest forever. And I know a lot of people build amazing lives in the Midwest. It just wasn't something that we necessarily wanted to do. We wanted to experience something else. My wife had grown up in Louisiana. I had lived briefly in Texas, Arkansas, Georgia, a few little places, and we kind of knew we were getting to that point where if we didn't make a move, we were going to be there forever, and we ultimately would never leave. So we decided that it was time to kind of blow everything up and make a move. We traveled to both ends of the country. We kind of narrowed down some top choices. We really liked 30A in Destin, Florida. That's a great spot, I think, to grow up. It's small, it's a great community. 30A has a ton to offer. We also really liked some suburbs of Dallas. Dallas has always been kind of a hot button place for me. I've really enjoyed it. There's so much to do. There's incredible culture. I don't think you can go wrong with Dallas. All right. So if you're watching and you've ever thought about moving somewhere else, where would you want to go? Leave a comment wherever you're watching this at. Let me know. I'd love to hear from you. And then I took a little trip out here. It was for business. So I fly out to Washington. I end up coming to Sumner of all places first. Sumner is a town of about 10,000 people. It has a really cute downtown, great little coffee shops. Walkability is insane, and it's got stunning views of Mount Rainier. From there, went to Seattle for a couple of days and was blown away by how amazing Seattle is. I know people from all different sides say, hey, Seattle's not that great, it's dirty, blah, blah, blah. But it fit my vibe. I like the city. I like being out. I like experiencing things. We love sports. We love fancy restaurants. That's just something that we really enjoy doing. So Seattle was a great vibe. From there, we ended up going and we went to Leavenworth for a few days. Now, if you don't know about Leavenworth, imagine a Christmas snow globe as a real place. That's pretty much what it is. And while we were there, we were hiking the Cascades. We were exposed to the mountains and everything that culture had. And it really just hit me super hard that this is a place that I could see myself being long term. And what we found was that we really liked the ability to be in the city quickly, but we loved all of the nature. And so our goal was to really find a place where we could be in nature, but also be far away. And that's really where Tehaleh solved that problem. But what we ended up having to do was we had to obviously how in the hell we were going to move across the country. So we had our savings, we had everything planned out, and then it was just a matter of getting there. So within 21 days, we ended up packing up all of our stuff and moving essentially across the entire United States. And I want to give you I want to show you what I mean by this, right? So when I talk about that we moved all the way across the country, I'm not joking one bit. So here we are. We're in Springfield, Missouri. The city is about 175,000 people. It's roughly the same square mileage as the city of Seattle as far as your size goes, but obviously a lot less people. So we ended up trekking, packing all of our stuff, and it was about a 3-day drive before we ended up getting out to Bonney Lake. So give you an idea of the distance here. Let's search Bonney Lake up. We'll go across the country, right? Boom. So pretty crazy haul. And now we did do it over the course of about 3 days. We had all of our stuff packed for us. We were not the ones moving our stuff. Okay. We were, I think, in some ways bright enough to have that handled for us. We chose to go the route of pods. I think that's a really smart move now. Some people are trying to pack their U-Hauls, but when you're driving 2,000 plus miles, it's not a good move. So what we did was we did a stop that was in Sioux Falls. We did a stop in Montana, and then we stayed on the east side of Washington one night before ultimately trekking out here. So I do think you could do that in about 2 days coming from the Midwest, but realistically, I think it's with children, it was quite a bit. So that's kind of how we ended up making the move itself. Okay, so now what do we like? What do we, not like? We ended up looking at the areas, and we shopped plenty of places. So why Bonney Lake versus like Seattle or Tacoma? It's a really good question. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in both those places that are frankly incredible, right? The fact is that we really like to be close to big things, but we really want our families to be in a smaller, safer environment. So Bonney Lake made sense. We also wanted to be able to walk our kids to school. Bonney Lake made sense. I do not like the amount of traffic in Bonney Lake. There are definitely downsides to it as well, and we're going to get into that in a minute. We like the affordability of it, and we also wanted to think, when we are planning our routes long term, what is that going to look like for us? If you go in and you buy a house in some place and you're starting to invest in the community and getting to know people, like, is there a return on it? So one of the very last things that we looked at was we ended up looking at what homes have been doing in the area, right? And when you looked at homes in the area, you could see over the course of the last 5 years, the average home in Bonney Lake was about $335, and Tehaleh was showing it about $410. And if you look at what our now numbers are, ended up being around 700,000 and 641. So knowing that we were going to end up buying something that would allow us to gain equity and grow our family was another really, really important aspect for us personally. So we ended up selecting Bonney Lake. We came out and looked at homes, and Tehaleh just had this crazy wild feel. Okay. So you're going to drive yourself about 10 minutes outside of Bonney Lake. This picture here as my background is essentially the way in and the way out. So for some perspective, that's pretty hard to blow off when that's what you get to see every day. It's pretty damn exciting. But it is a little ways away from everything. So we like that because the kids could have that same environment where they could play outside like it was the 90s, run around. My teenagers can walk to the coffee shop. They have a lot of amenities that are available to them. Plus, it's a really safe community, and we're far enough away from the city. But here is one of the biggest kickers. So I don't get the opportunity to necessarily work from home, I'm a real estate broker, and therefore I've got to get to where I'm going a lot. And so business for me kind of is around Seattle and Tacoma. And if we zoom out here, you can kind of see as it loads up, right? Tacoma is just right here. Like we're just down the highway from Tacoma. So we're close there. And then South Seattle is up here. So we're not super far away from Seattle proper either. So I can kind of split Tacoma and Seattle, which are our two biggest metros. So if you're looking at where you're going to go for jobs, I think the Bonney Lake Tehaleh area is super smart because you can get to either major metro fairly quick, pending obviously traffic not being a huge pain in the ass that day. And of course, Mount Rainier there to the southeast is pretty awesome to look at as well. So, all right, let's see here. So what do we love about the community and what do we not when we first initially moved here? So like I said, we really love the fact that Finley's school which is my 7-year-old, was very close. It's walking distance. It's about a fourth of a mile away. So we can walk him to and from school every day. Not only is it great exercise, but it's also really incredible one-on-one connections. And I've never lived in a place where I was able to really walk my children to school. So having that freedom, and most of this neighborhood does the exact same thing too, just to take that into account as well. The schools are great. You can join PTA. That's something that we have, or I have done personally. And it's all parents from inside the community. So it's a little different, when your school is in your neighborhood and all of the kids that go to that school are from your neighborhood. It makes it a very, very tight-knit group. Top of that, the Sumner Bonney Lake School District is pretty amazing. I got a question on here from Rodriguez that is asking about Sumner Bonney Lake District and others in Ording. Reviews for Ording are not the best. I will tell you there are portions of Tehaleh that go to Ording School District. The newest development right now, Tyree Ridge, which does have some really amazing homes from Richmond Homes and Nofke. A lot of those kids are ending up going out to Ording. I personally have not heard this complaint. I have a lot of friends that live in Ording. It's a really nice small town. White River is another smaller school, and it seems to do really, really well. All of those, I think, are successful. They are smaller schools in essence for the area. I mean, if you're coming from a rural town in Kansas, they're going to be bigger schools. But for what there is with Tacoma and Seattle, you're in a smaller school district. So I think your kids have a really good opportunity to grow in those schools, and you can connect and make a large difference as a parent in those schools as well. So that's an interesting part. What else we love? We love the 90s setup of kids being able to go out and play and live like it's, 1995. I mean, we never we had the opportunity to grow up. We got to play outside and we got to see our friends every day and ride our bikes freely. And that is something that I think is really kind of copied from those days to here now. Okay. People have that opportunity to live that life again. I don't worry about my kids out riding their bike. There's 35 miles of trails. There's 14 parks. I mean, it's really ridiculous the amount of opportunities there is to have fun. My teenagers typically will take the trails down to the coffee shop and hang out, or they'll hang out at Big Sky Park, which is close to where I live in Berkeley Parkway. Those are two big mega things for them. What do I not like? I can be honest, after being here a while, what I do not like is traffic. Essentially, when you leave Tehaleh, there is one road that goes in and out of the neighborhood. At the end of that one road, on one side is the high school and on one side is the middle school. So if you do catch those school either getting in or school getting out, you're going to be in a world of hurt. I have a video on YouTube called Do Not Move to Bonney Lake. So if you want to check that out, you're more than welcome to. In that video, I really break down kind of what I'm not a huge fan of in the area. Overall, I mean, obviously, I do love living here and love what we have going on, but that video does a really good job of breaking down what I do not like about Bonney Lake. So I will put that video in the comments. You can check it out and see what you think. Now, as far as housing goes, one of the things I love about Tehaleh is I love all the builders that are available. So let me show you guys here kind of what we have going on with our builders now. All right. So here are builders in Bonney Lake. Like I said, the newest development is going to be, I see a lot of Nafki and I see a lot of Richmond American homes. And that is down in Tyree Ridge. So this is a brand new development. It's essentially around the corner from my kids' school. And it's kind of the start of phase 2 for our community. And I'm going to show you guys that here in a second. What we ended up doing was we had essentially first looked at a Brookstone home just because it was, it was really nice. It was down the street from where I wanted to be. But we ended up finding a bigger Azure home in Berkeley Way. So we ended up ultimately taking the Azure home, and it's been really nice. I've not really noticed a lot of that like new build problems that you see people have, where they are, picking things apart and they're finding, holes in their walls, or they're finding corners cut, things like that. I will tell you that I've seen a couple in Berkeley Parkway where I'm seeing paint fade on some of these homes. So if you're checking these out, make sure you're looking for the obvious. I definitely recommend that you do have a home inspection on any property that you buy out here, hands down, no matter what. Like I said, Tyree Ridge right now is going to be the place where most of the new builds are happening, as that development is really kind of pushing out. So that's something to take a look at for sure, is what we're doing there with our new builds. Okay. All right. Okay, let's take a look here now. So where are we going? I think that's the next thing that's really important. If you're moving to a new area, you're definitely going to want to be knowing about kind of what's going to be happening in the future. So I'm going to give you guys a quick shot here of what the future looks like for us here in Tehaleh. Okay, so what the future holds. All right, so where we're at now already feels insanely massive. Like, it's almost overwhelming. If you can see this picture here on the screen, you can kind of see, all the amount of homes that are already here and are already going. So, but let's look at it. Here's the thing. Here's phase 1. Here's where we're at, right? This is where we're at. And here's phase 2. This is where we're actually going in this build out. So we've got a ton of improvements. We've got all kinds of new parks that are going to be coming in and growing. And we also have, like, here's what our vision is. Here's the game plan. If you're watching this on Instagram, I'm sorry you guys can't see the screen share. I'll try to let you know a little bit about it. So obviously the plan with phase 2 is we're going to be including an urban growth area. We're going to be having an open space commitment. So we're committed to maintaining 40% of the land as open space for trails or parks, which I think is huge. You see a lot of these developments are just getting mauled down, ran over, and homes are getting, crapped up there. And I do think I would like to see more than 40%. I understand where we're at, but I would like to see more than 40%. A new side for phase 2 for Tehaleh is going to be employment opportunities. So there is about 475 acres in this phase 2 that are dedicated to commercial, light industrial, and like civic ventures. So, and right now, we do about 250 to 300 construction jobs. So we're doing a lot of new builds for people, but now we're going to add in some business as well. Right now at Tehaleh, just down the street, the front entrance by the big, beautiful shot of Mount Rainier, there's actually a 7-Eleven convenience store and a Wendy's going in there for us. And I think that's going to be a riot. I've heard some mixed feelings now, about these two things going in. But if you're looking at moving here and think, man, I don't want that. Listen, here's the deal. You're going to move out here because it's far enough away from everything else that you want to be here. People are not going to drive in from town to come eat at your Wendy's. It would be insane for them to do that. So it's going to be for you and your family. The other thing I'm pretty pumped about is some mixed residential offerings in this phase 2. In the second phase, we move along. There's going to be a bigger expansion into the types of homes that are here. We have Trilogy, which is for our 55 and up communities, but we're going to see a bigger expansion more in the 55 and up communities. We're also going to see a bigger expansion into multifamily homes, which I think is great, because if we can build up, or we can fit more families into one housing unit, we can save more of our land. And then, of course, we're going to have some luxury coming in, and I think that's going to be an amazing opportunity for us. So that's kind of what's looking at coming up here in the future with Tehaleh. Now we've been here for a while. How do I feel about it? So we relocated all the way across the country because we really wanted a change. We wanted something new. We wanted to feel safe. We wanted to have more adventure. And I really do feel like we were able to accomplish this by moving to Tehaleh. Bonney Lake's been a great community for us. People have been very accepting over the past few years. We found gyms, and we found places we love to eat, and we've made a bunch of friends. And it really has hit the nail on the head for us. We've enjoyed having access to Tacoma and Seattle for our date nights. We do a date night every single Thursday, just me and the wife. And I can't tell you like how important that is to have. Walking my littlest one to school every day is priceless. My wife does that every single day. I jump in, obviously, when I can, but that's something like that you dream about, in today's day and age. You dream about the times when you could go ride your bike freely around the neighborhood and no one was worried. You dream about the days when you could walk to the coffee shop and no one was worried. You miss the times where parents walked around with their kids for fun. And we still have all of that. We have great walking trails. There's 35 miles of trails. We do use them regularly, and I can tell you that's not a rarity. A lot of people are using those walking trails. It's common practice for people to be out enjoying nature. There's 14 parks, and there's going to be more. And I will tell you, there's everything you want. There's like little kids basketball courts. There's swings. There's parks for laying out, looking at the mountain. There's a little zip line out there for the kids. There's anything you could possibly want. The only thing I can really say that I don't necessarily like is the amount of traffic we have coming in and out. But I think that is a Western Washington thing in general. No matter where I go, I really see this being something that I struggle with, is the amount of traffic, and people drive really, really slow. So that's something that's pretty normal as well. Overall, it's been a really great experience. If you are looking to move to the Bonney Lake, Lake Tapps area, please feel free to reach out to me. My information's right there in the description box below. I'll always comment on anything on YouTube, Instagram. I'll always return that. And overall, love you guys. Hope this helps a little bit. If you need anything, reach out to me. Until next time, I'm Austin Robertson. Talk to you guys later.